You're probably like, Tim, chill out. Like, this isn't a therapy session. So many people only focus on the physical side and they never address the mental. The Rocky cutscene lasts 2 minutes in movies, but it might last 5 or 10 years in real life. What is up, guys? Welcome back to the video. Today we're going to be talking about 4 ways that building muscle can completely change your life and how it definitely changed mine. Sit back, relax, and grab a snack. Let's get into it. Before we get into it, I just want to take a moment to thank you guys for 1,000 subscribers. Man, I'm so grateful. Like, y'all don't understand how long I've been wanting to achieve this goal and like how many times I put up the camera to film a video and like just ended up stopping because I didn't think like the videos were good enough, honestly. But one day I just decided to actually post, and since then I've been doing it, and to grow to 1,000 subscribers is honestly surreal. So I just really want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for making that dream a reality. Yeah, thank you guys so much. I'm very excited for the journey ahead, trying to hit the next milestone, which will be 10K subscribers in 2025. I know we can do it, guys. Like, if we can get 1,000, we can get 10,000. Yeah, let's do it. I'm excited. But anyways, let's get into the first point. Let's go, because I got to get into work, but let's get into this first point real quick. So the first point I wanted to make is that the work works on you more than you work on it. So one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is that the process of building muscle and getting into a routine and getting your body in shape, it shapes you more than the results of that process ever really could. And there's a quote that I think sums this process up perfectly. You don't know if all the work you've been spending your time investing in will pay off. It's this fear that you're wasting your time. But the reality is that the outcome isn't the thing you're building. The person you are becoming is what you're building. So who you become and the skills that you gain while embarking on this fitness journey, in my opinion, often outweigh any type of result that you could possibly get. And what's really interesting is that I found that fitness can transform more than just your body. Like, it can really just transform your entire identity, because you start to see yourself as someone who is focused, disciplined, resilient. And that mental shift can do wonders for every area of your life that's not just fitness. And that's why sometimes you'll see fitness referred to as an anchor habit, because people who are able to master this specific domain of their life often see it flow into so many other areas of their life, including their work, their relationships, their businesses. Like, so many other things have this ripple effect of improvement because they're able to solidify progress and solidify discipline in a very challenging area of life for a lot of people. So just remember that every time you show up for yourself in the gym, you're reinforcing to yourself that you can do hard things. And that belief over time can change your entire life trajectory. And that has definitely been my experience. Like, being in the gym and being consistent for so long hasn't just given me physical progress. It's honestly changed my entire identity and it's changed my mind, because I believe with very strong conviction that I can control a lot of the areas of my life by God's grace, God first, of course. But the things that are in my control, like, I definitely believe that if I put my mind to it and if I focus, that I'll be able to get certain results. And that's just because of the discipline that I've got from being in the gym for so long. And you also just develop this sense of consistency, because you get very comfortable doing boring things for a long time without seeing results. Because for a long time, you might not see the results that you desire to see. You might not make the progress that you want to make, and that's okay. That's part of the process. The challenging part is accepting this reality and continuing to go down that road, knowing that it will take a long time to get the results. The thing is, like, the time is going to pass either way, so you might as well become the person you want to become over time. So don't let that be an obstacle for you. That's the first point, guys. The work works on you way more than you work on it. And that is one of the greatest parts about working out. Okay, guys, on the way to work, gonna get into the second point. And the second point is that most of your life is a result of the conversations that you have with yourself in your head. You're probably like, Tim, chill out. Like, this isn't a therapy session. I've been making this realization. Since I've made this realization, it's honestly transformed my life. And before I started working out, I had negative self-talk, a lot of negative self-talk. Honestly, sometimes it's still something that I struggle with. I think that a lot of people struggle with. But until you're able to understand those conversations that you have in your head with yourself and change that internal dialogue, you're gonna struggle with building muscle for the long term. So the world is essentially a reflection of your mind, and how you see yourself and how you talk to yourself really will determine what you create. So during this process, I've learned how important it is to monitor your thoughts, because your thoughts shape what you believe, which will eventually, ultimately shape your reality. If your internal dialogue is, oh, I hate working out, or I've never been into fitness, or fitness just isn't for me, or I hate going to the gym, and all these negative things, then that's going to be the reality that you continue to perpetuate. And I find that so many of us try to jump straight to treating the symptoms rather than treating the root cause. Because being out of shape or being overweight or not being where you desire to be physically is just a symptom. And the root cause is a mindset, a mentality that says, I'm not someone who works out, or I cannot achieve this goal if I set it for myself, or what is the purpose of trying, because I've tried before and I always failed, so why would I try it again? That is the real root cause. So until you're able to address that mindset, which is the root cause, those symptoms will continue to persist, meaning that you most likely will never be able to achieve your fitness goals. And what I learned is that we all want quick fixes, including myself. Like, we all want the quick solution to a problem. But until you're able to understand why you're inconsistent now and the mindset behind that, then you'll just keep repeating the same patterns. And that's really why I created like this entire fitness channel and like the brand Fit Body Fit Mind, because I realized that like so many people only focus on the physical side and they never address the mental. And I would argue that the mental is more important, because I think a lot of us in fitness use fitness to cover up our insecurities. A lot of people in fitness have always felt like they're not enough, and fitness is like an outlet of disproving that truth in their mind. But the thing is, like, if you don't work on the mental part and improve your mindset as well, you'll continue to have these negative thought patterns even when you start to have those physical results. And I really am speaking to myself too, because I realize that the physical part like is great and getting that progress is great, but if you don't conquer the mental side, like, you will definitely struggle. And you guys can learn from this, and it's definitely something that I've learned over the last 7 years of lifting consistently. Like, I can do all the exercises I want and like look great physically, but unless I take care of my mind, there really is no point to it. Yeah, guys, anyways, that's enough yapping. I gotta get into work, catch this metro. My hands are also freezing right now. I'll catch you guys after work. Successful day at work, just heading back. Good thing about work right now is that things are kind of slowing down. So like the surgeons are booking a lot less cases. That means there's a lot less anesthesia to do for us, which has been good because it's been slower at work. But as you guys can see, it is dark outside. I go to work when it's dark and I come back when it's dark. The days I work, I really don't see sunlight, because in the operating rooms, there's no windows. I'm like a vampire during the winter. Everyone who works in like the operating room or in the hospital, like during the winter, like you really are just a vampire because you don't see the sun. It is what it is, but gonna head home, get into this next point, and yeah, probably hit the gym later. Okay guys, so the next point that I wanted to talk about are the 5 stages that you will go through when you are changing your behavior and starting something new. So when you're starting anything new, including maybe it's your first time working out or trying to work out consistently, so psychologists have found that we all go through 5 distinct emotional stages. And the reason why I wanted to talk about this is because if you understand these 5 stages, then you'll be able to overcome setbacks and get through when things inevitably get tough. When life gets in the way, when you get too busy, when your negative thoughts and like all these pre-programmed ways of thinking start to come back, understanding what's happening is going to help you significantly overcome that possible setback. So the first stage is uninformed optimism. And this stage is when you're excited, but you don't know the challenges ahead. So I think we can all relate to this. It's kind of like the New Year's resolution, where you're excited about your dream body and achieving your dream physique, but you have no idea what's going to actually go into achieving that, and the process and the sacrifices that you're going to have to make to get that result. Second stage is going to be informed pessimism. This is when reality sets in and it feels a lot harder to be excited. So this is about like 2-3 weeks. For majority of people, I think there's like a study that said that by the 17th of January, most people quit on their New Year's resolutions. But this is when reality starts to set in, and you start to become pessimistic of whether or not you can achieve your goals. And you start to doubt why you even created those goals and if they're even important to you in the first place. And you start looking back at your old lifestyle and remembering how easy it was, and you want to go back to that. And the third stage is going to be despair. This is when you feel stuck and you want to quit. And I think we can all relate to this on some degree, on some level. If you've ever tried anything new, there comes a point where you feel like, I'm never going to be able to do this, and there is no point to even trying. Like, I might as well just quit now. And the third state is where most people quit. That's where most people fall off. They stop completely because they cannot overcome the emotional turmoil of realizing that they're not going to be able to achieve their goal, or that their goal is not going to be as easily achieved as they thought it'd be. But there is another state that happens after the third state, and that state is informed optimism. This is when you push through and things start to click. So this is when you realize that's going to be difficult, but you figure out what works for you, and then things start to make sense. Maybe you get your first win, you lose your first 5 or 10 pounds, and you start to understand the process. You start gaining a little bit of muscle, you start to understand what goes into nutrition, what goes into exercise, and what you have to do in terms of a day-to-day routine in order to achieve a certain goal. And you might fluctuate between steps 3 and 4 in that you'll feel a little bit of despair, but then you'll tack on a win, and then that win will keep you going. And that's where that optimism starts to come from. You're more informed of the challenges that you're going to have to overcome. Maybe you're more informed of your bad habits and how difficult it's actually going to be to achieve your goal. But you're optimistic because you start to understand the process, and you start to realize that even though it's difficult, you can achieve it. And step 5, if you made it to step 5, you are a rare individual. And this is essentially where you reach success, where you reach whatever your initial goal was. And that means you're able to fight through the challenges, you're able to figure out what works for you, you're able to make sacrifices, and you now understand what goes in mentally to achieve a certain goal. And you also understand what you have to do physically to achieve a certain goal. So this is very rare. A lot of people don't really ever get to this stage. And if you are able to get to this stage, then it doesn't just apply to fitness, it applies to so many other areas of life as well. So most people stay stuck between 1 and 3, where they're very optimistic in the beginning, they get pessimistic, and then they sink into despair. And after despair, they quit. That's like what the majority of people do. That's what I did for the longest time. Like when I first was, dabbling with working out, I would always start off so excited and so ready to begin the journey. But then as life inevitably got harder, things and other challenges and other time commitments started to come in, I would start to get more pessimistic, and then eventually I would feel like my goals weren't achievable, and I would completely stop, and I wouldn't work out again for a couple weeks, months at a time. And eventually I would come back and be like, nah, this time I'm gonna really get on it, I'm gonna lock in. But inevitably I'll fall back into that same cycle. So I would just be going between steps or phases 1, 2, and 3 over and over. And it wasn't until, like I said, I got my mentality right, I worked on what I had to do mentally in order to overcome those barriers, that I was finally able to tack on a couple wins. And those first couple wins are everything, because that's what's going to push you into step 4 and eventually into step 5. So take the time to think about, like, what stage are you in, or what cycles do you find yourself consistently falling into? I think personally that if you're able to understand the cycles and understand where you are, then it makes the process a lot less daunting. And it also makes it something that's quantifiable versus something that's just like esoteric and that you don't understand. You're like, I don't know why I keep falling back into these patterns. If you're able to understand these cycles, then you can pinpoint where you are. And you can also approach fitness and any other pursuit, honestly, with a more of a better understanding of what it's going to take to achieve it. And there's a great quote that I think summarizes it very well, which is that we all overestimate what we think we can accomplish in 1 month or 1 year, but we greatly underestimate what we can accomplish in 3 months or 3 years. So however much time you think it's going to take to accomplish something, usually understand that's going to take a lot more time to accomplish that thing. And if you approach anything with this mindset, but especially fitness, then you'll be able to overcome the inevitable obstacles that come up along the way. All right, guys. So going to start getting ready for the gym. Today is going to be what is today? Today's going to be a pull day. So we're going to be doing back and biceps. Going to be working my way over to DMV Iron. If you guys have been watching the videos, you guys know that's where I've been going. That gym is dope, man. The only issue is that it is a weekday and it is hard to film like during the weekdays. Like it's hard to do anything, honestly, because it's so packed, but it is worth it because like I said, the environment is just so hype and I just like it. I feel like it's a really good environment if you're trying to push yourself. But yeah, I'm gonna chill for a little bit, eat some food, and then get ready to head over. All right, guys, just finished that workout. Very, very, very good workout. I feel like ever since I've been starting off with weighted pull-ups and dips, I've just been feeling a lot stronger. Like in my other exercises, I've been getting stronger also on the weighted pull-ups and the dips too, which has been feeling great. I remember like a couple years ago when I was really starting to look like OC was when I was doing these like every day. I used to like do 2 plates on weighted pull-ups and weighted dips. And like I was even pushing heavier. And I just remember feeling so strong. But anyways, like, yeah, guys, if you don't do them, try to incorporate them, you'll feel the difference. So the fourth thing that I've learned on this journey is what I like to call the Rocky montage myth. And there's this quote that I think sums up everything beautifully. The Rocky cutscene lasts 2 minutes in movies, but it might last 5 or 10 years in real life. So I know we've all seen the Rocky movies, or if you haven't, go watch those. Those are actually really good movies. But in every single one of his movies, in the middle of the movie, he has like these like legendary montage scenes where he starts training really hard and like he's training for some fight, he's eating right, he's running, he's in the gym, and he's just going really hard. And these scenes typically last like 2-3 minutes. And at the end, he's just like jacked, he's in shape, he's in the right mental frame, and he's just ready to take on like any opponent that's in front of him. And when you watch this, it's so glamorous and like it's really motivating and inspiring to see him like really lock in on life and tackle his goals. But the only issue is that his montage or his glow up or whatever you want to call it only lasted 2 to 3 minutes in the movie. But your montage, my montage, might actually last 3, 5, 6, 10 years before we start to see the results that we want to see and get into that mental frame or that physical shape that we desire. So we have to remember that our life isn't a movie as much as we would like it to be one. But true transformation takes time and it's not glamorous, it's not fast-paced. It really just takes consistency and it takes you deciding that you want to achieve something and actually executing on the habits that are going to allow you to achieve that goal in order to get to that endpoint that you desire. And if you show up day after day, even when the progress feels slow and you're not seeing results and you feel like you're not moving the needle, even when you show up on those days, especially when you show up on those days, the days that you don't want to come, that's when you'll start to see progress and you start to become the person that you've really always wanted to be. But all right, guys, that is it for today's video. If you made it this far, like always, I really do appreciate you. If you found any value, go ahead and hit the like and subscribe. We're on our journey to 10,000 subscribers in 2025. I know we can do it. We just hit 1,000 and I'm so grateful. Like, it's a surreal feeling, man. In a way, it's like I see it as like my Rocky montage scene, you know, like I'm going through the process right now. And I just know that if I stay consistent, that we'll get the result. Can't happen without y'all support. So I really do appreciate you guys. Drop a comment, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.